Hello, I'm Jeff Hajek. I'm the owner and founder of Action, and I'd like to welcome you to this latest episode of my ramblings of a continuous improvement coach. In this episode, I just want to talk to you a little bit about technology. So, and not just technology, but innovation is a general concept. And I'll back up a little bit. My business over the last 2 years, I've been changing a lot of the infrastructure behind it. So it's a small business, and I do it. Um, I've been really trying to do a lot of work-life balance over the last, 8, 9, 10 years as I had younger children. And now as they're getting older and I'm getting older, I have a different concept of how I can spend my time. So I want to be able to be prepared for when that next phase comes in the business to be able to take advantage of all this effort I've put in over the last, I guess 13, 14 years now of developing all the processes, content, tools, models, all the things that I have put together over the last, decade plus. I want to be able to, lean forward in the saddle a little bit. It's an old Army term that we had, and be ready for it. And a lot of the technology I've used is stuff that's been around for a while. So I had when I first started out in my business years ago, I used a web store and it had a marketing system, email marketing system built in it. And it was okay at the time. It wasn't top of the line expensive, or it wasn't the bottom version. So I invested in it and it did okay early on. And then it kind of fell behind in what was available in as other options. So I finally, a few years ago, I think maybe 18 months or 2 years ago, I got a new storefront. I got a new email provider. I migrated my offline content to a online training platform. I updated the themes on my main website so that it looked a lot better. And as a whole, I just invested in new technology, the new microphones, things like that, the video. So everything is just better. But none of the stuff was cutting edge. So it was all stuff that had been out there and had been used by people quite a bit. And that's really this concept here. And one of the things that we hear a lot about in lean or continuous improvement in general is to stay away from unproven technology. So the idea here is you don't want to be putting your business in the hands of technology that hasn't been properly vetted and tested. And that makes a lot of sense. If you think about how, the concept of lean is promoted, it forces companies to take away their safety net. So a lot of companies, when they have giant piles of inventory, if a machine breaks down, they can live off the inventory for a little bit. And there's a lot of cost to it, but it does hide problems. So there's a reason that people do it. There's a reason that people have all this excess capacity, or they hide tools or partial parts, or there's a lot of like the hidden factories that go on to make sure that when there is a problem, that nothing shuts down. So hidden new technology relies upon the hidden factories to be able to keep it flowing when there is a problem. And invariably, if you roll out new technology in your organization, you will end up with some problems. So we want you to stay away from the unproven stuff. So now if you have new stuff and it is very quickly proven to be really effective, that's a different story. But we're really talking about not being a testing ground as a lean company. There's other companies that can do that for you. And by the time technology is introduced in your organization, it should have been well, vetted. I use that word again, but it should have gone through the ringer with somebody else, and they should have been the ones to work out all the bugs. So when it comes to you, it's not going to just completely throw your processes for a loop because the equipment that you're using can't keep up. So that's a big concept about staying away from unproven technology. Now, the flip side of that, though, is that we often tell you better, not perfect. And the corollary to that is sometimes you have to start taking action before you know the full solution. So you just have to kind of have faith that you're going to be able to come up with a better way to do things. But if you wait until you have all the answers, you're not going to get started. So if you are really trying to make an organization hum, you have to start making changes, not necessarily knowing the exact end state. You just kind of know the direction, and you have faith that you'll be able to figure it out as you get there. So there's a big piece of that, but that kind of seems at odds with this whole idea of don't try technology that hasn't been proven, but go ahead and take something on if you don't really know the end state. And it goes along another concept that I like to teach is say, use trial and error. You're not going to be able to come up with an answer exactly right sitting in a conference room and thinking through it. And now there are things that you really want to get highly technical on. You don't want to do trial and error on rocket engines or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're really dialed in. But if you're trying to decide where is the best place to put your shelf with your materials on it, or what's the best orientation for a holder for your screwdrivers, or what size tool balancer do you need to make it easy enough to pull, but hold a tool. Those are the kind of things that you can just try them, and if you're wrong, you try them again until you dial it in. So now when you look at these three things sitting up here on the screen, I'm telling you to stay away from the unproven technology, but I'm telling you to wing it, basically. That's not exactly what I'm telling you to, but it could be interpreted that way. You want to have the right skills and mentality that it's not really winging it. You're just basically knowing that you can rely upon your problem solving skills, but you're doing it without an end concept in mind. So with that kind of thought is, how do you reconcile these apparent discrepancies? And I kind of came to it a little bit with what I just said, is that if you're doing continuous improvement correctly, and if you're really focusing on the right things, and it's people development, you can take chances because your people are extremely versatile, they're extremely competent, they have the right mindset to be able to go after things. They know if something's not right, that they have to be able to identify it and then do something about it right away. So there's all these things you build into your team that makes it possible to do the second and third one here. You can expect trial and error from your teams if you teach them the process of doing trial and error effectively. And if you teach them the right skill sets about flow and setup reduction and 5S and all these other core tools, and then of course problem solving, when you ask them to make a change without knowing the end state, you might know step 2 and 3, but you don't know steps 5 and 6 yet. You haven't gotten that far along. You know that they'll be able to come up with that solution and be able to react properly. The difference in the first one is you don't have control over that. So if you're just taking somebody else's challenge on, so if you put new technology in and you have no way to fix the problem if it comes up, you have given away your ability to react because it's not you that owns the underlying processes, the underlying changes that you'll need to make. So if you rely on somebody else's technology in the development stage, you're going to find yourself being kind of at a loss for potential solutions. So all the skills that you've developed, they're not going to be effective at solving that problem. So that's really just kind of what I was thinking about as I was talking about it. And the reason it got brought up was I have a new search engine built into my system, my training platform. And originally it wasn't very robust. So it would search titles of your chapters and lessons and courses, but it wouldn't search the content. In this new system, it searches the entirety of all the content you have, but also dives into your videos and audio. So I really liked the look of it early on. It was kind of expensive, and I started thinking, oh, this would be great to put in there. It'll make the experience for the people on my website, my training platform, way better. But it was unproven, and I had to really fight the urge for a long time to not put something in until they had worked the bugs out. And once I felt confident that there weren't going to be any surprises or any issues, I just recently installed it. So you can go check that out. Just if you go to the search or into the dashboard, if you're a member, you can look at the real powerful new search engine. If you've been using it before, you'll see how much better it is. So, but anyway, that's the whole gist of this. You know, I say rambling because I kind of do ramble in these things, but hopefully, my years of experience, when I ramble, sometimes there's some pearls of wisdom, some nuggets of truth, things like that come out of it, and hopefully it's worthwhile to you to listen to this. Um, yeah, that's all I got. Have a good day. Thanks.